Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and then remain standing for words of inspiration by Pastor Bob Morrissey of the Church of Clawson.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for letting me come tonight. I appreciate it. Father, I thank you that our city leaders can meet here tonight, and the people from the city are welcome to come. And I'm thankful for the government structure that we have, where we can vote and where we can have input. I think about the vote coming up next week and the importance that it has. And I just pray that that vote would be one that would be honoring and pleasing to you and would help the city of Clawson, as the votes will affect many of the residents here. I'm thankful for the city council members and the time that they give to our city, and the work and the labor that they put in and the time that they spend away from their family to help all of us here in this city, the businesses and the residents and the churches and the other organizations. And so I pray that you would bless them and their homes and their family, their spouses, their children, their parents. And I pray that you would bless our city. And I just pray that you would put a hand of protection around each of them during this time. And I pray that you would give them wisdom as they make decisions. And I pray for this city that we would acknowledge you and turn towards you, as you are the one who ordained all of this. You gave us government to lead and guide us and to take us down a path that would be helpful for all of the people that live in it. And so we just pray your blessing on tonight's meeting and on everybody here. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Pastor Morrissey. And your church is looking spectacular. Welcome. Roll call, please, Mr. Gitschlag.
Mayor Milan.
I'm here.
Councilmember Anderson.
here.
Councilmember Sampson.
Here.
Councilmember Shepard. Here. That's a quorum, Madam Mayor.
Next up on the agenda would be approval of the agenda, but before we approve the agenda, I'd like to add an item to the agenda, which will be something that I'd like to call the Community Spirit Award, and I would like to add that under presentations and proclamations, item B.
Is that a motion?
It is a motion.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Hang on, item B. Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Mayor Milan.
Yes.
Councilmember Sampson.
Yes.
Councilmember Shepard.
Yes.
We have a Community Spirit Award on the agenda.
Yay. Next up would be public comment for items on the agenda. If you're here this evening and you'd like to discuss anything that's on the agenda, we welcome you to come forward. State your name and your address. We'll give you 3 minutes.
Hello all, Kathy Phillips, 226 Hendrickson. I just want to make a brief comment. I don't have a copy of the list of bills, but you did all receive notification from me that I'm having trouble getting paid as a volunteer for some items that I purchased for the DDA. And I would hope that those are on the list of bills or at least being considered. Thank you.
Thank you.
I've been waiting 6 months.
Thank you. Next up is consideration of approving the following consent agenda. First item is minutes of the special city council meeting held on Monday, October 17th, 2022, as presented. The next item is minutes of the regular city council meeting held on Tuesday, October 18th, 2022, as presented. And the last item would be the list of bills in the amount of $819,902.13.
I'd like to move 7B out of there because I want to add my comments,
Okay.
but I don't have them yet. I mean, I got to get them to you.
Okay, so you're pulling,
Just a regular meeting, at the end, the evaluation part.
okay. So you want to pull that out? Okay.
And then
that's
put it
fine.
back on next week, and by then I'll give you the file.
Oh, you want me to add your comments to the minutes?
Yeah, like we did last time.
Okay, scan them all in. Okay, I didn't have any of that, so.
No,
Okay,
my fault,
that's fine.
not
We
yours.
did that when we did Mike Smith's evaluation.
Yeah.
That's an easy thing to do.
Okay.
Could we also pull item C just so that we can have conversation regarding Mrs. Phillips' comments, just so we can get clarification for anyone who's paying attention?
Yes, I'd like to see that moved.
Okay, so we'll move that one later on as well. So that would go to item 9E. Does that make sense?
So I'll put list of bills as E, and Councilman, you want to leave the other minutes on? I will just scan that in and add it. Is that administratively tolerable? Or do you want to pull it and talk about it? Doesn't matter.
Well, let's pull it and then vote on it next meeting.
Okay, I get what you mean. You want to vote on it next meeting with the entirety? Fine,
Yeah.
understood. Thank you.
Okay.
So postponed. Okay.
Someone want to make a motion?
So is that,
for
which, the 18th is getting pulled, is that right?
this? The 18th is being pulled,
Okay.
and C is being moved.
Okay. Madam Mayor, I move that the consent agenda be approved with just the item A, 7A, minutes of the special city council meeting held on Monday, October 17th, 2022, as presented.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mayor Milan?
Yes.
Councilmember Sampson?
Yes.
Councilmember Shepherd?
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, next up on our agenda is something that's great. Under presentations and proclamations, we're always happy to welcome a new member to our team. We have tonight a swearing in of Patrol Officer Paul Korb, who is going to be handling those honors.
Sergeant Jody Horn is standing in for interim chief.
Glad to have you here, Sergeant Horn.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of council. I am pleased to introduce Officer Paul Korb, who comes to the city of Clawson highly recommended and highly experienced, which includes a degree in aviation management and operations. Paul has had a successful career for the cities of Walled Lake and Royal Oak and the Oakland County Sheriff's Office. Paul is family-oriented and has always admired the cohesiveness of the Clawson community and its traditions. I am confident he will make a positive impact as he protects and serves the citizens of Clawson. Mayor and members of council, please join me in welcoming Officer Paul Korb to our community.
So do you want to swear in? Sure. Folks that want to take pictures, anyone that want, okay.
Yeah, come over here so you can get,
Right spot.
yeah.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me, sir. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this state
and the Constitution of this state
and the Charter of the City of Clawson,
and the Charter of the City of Clawson,
and that I will faithfully perform the duties
and I will faithfully perform the duties
of the Office of Police Officer
of the Office of Police Officer
in and for the City of Clawson,
in and for
City of Clawson,
Clawson,
County of Oakland,
County of Oakland,
State of Michigan,
State of Michigan,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Nice to have
Thank you.
sir.
Thank you.
You already signed it once officially, but this is-
Hold on. Let's go down. We're going to do a photo. If the other officers that are here would like to come be part of this, come on up. You look very nice. Can we run over?
No, well, making you hop down there.
Yeah, I was actually curious tonight. I know I'm a rookie, but working for 27 years.
We're going to throw out the average. We're gonna watch it.
I think you guys just squeeze in a little bit more.
I make my voice kneel.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Mayor.
Wish you a long, healthy.
Thank you. Yep, yep, for sure. Thank you.
Okay, so next up on the agenda is something that we've been talking about, wanting to infuse just a little bit more community into our meetings and to celebrate the things that we see out and about that are just kind of exceptional and kind of capture the heart of the people of Clawson. So I just happen to live by this really exceptional Halloween display, and probably since September, I've watched this really incredible woman outside in her front yard, just building and building and building and creating this display, which for the past several weeks has created a little bit of a traffic jam here and there with people driving by to check it all out. So there are some slides of the photos of the yard.
Oh, boy.
So Shara Lindsay lives on Phillips, and she clearly is a fan of this season. And I think there are 4 photos that capture all that she has done. And when I had people at my house for trick or treat, several of them, not all, but several of them remarked at how fun it was for them to walk through the neighborhood and to walk past that. And they had a hard time pulling kids away from that was there because, it was pretty phenomenal. So on behalf of the Clawson City Council, Shara, would you come up? I'll present this to you.
Nice job.
So you can hear, right? So the Clawson City Council Community Spirit Award, this is proudly presented to Shara Lindsay today, November 1st, 2022. We present this award in recognition of your community spirit. Your efforts in creating an environment that brought joy to many Clawson residents during this fall season is an example of the heart of Clawson. We thank you for your great contribution.
Thank you.
So, could you guys come and do one more photo?
Can you make it? Can you make it down, Glenn?
I was going to say, how many pictures you got?
I think this might be it. I'm gonna come up for a reason for some pictures.
It's now become numb and painful.
So we can just put a chair down there for you,
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, man, painful.
Thank you so much for doing something fun for you, but the other people get to benefit from. And for anyone who's paying attention, if you see something exceptional, if you see someone doing a great job and just having that spirit of Clawson, we'd like to celebrate that too. So please keep your eyes and ears open and share with us the thoughts that you have. Clawson is a community made up of individuals with great heart, great attributes, and we just want to build community the best we can, and something little like this we'd be really happy to share. So moving on from that to real business, we're going to go to new business. First item on the agenda is a consideration to amend Chapter 2 of the Clawson Code Administration by making modifications to Article 7 entitled Boards, Commissions, and Authorities. Division 3, Fire Department Pension Board of Trustees, Section 2371.3 of the Clawson Code by deleting such sections and replacing the same as provided. So we have a representative here today who can answer any questions. Would anyone from administration or Kelly, I don't know who would like to do that, like to speak towards this?
Is there a motion? A motion.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah.
Madam Mayor, I move to amend Chapter 2 of the Clawson Code Administration by making modifications to Article 7 entitled Boards, Commissions, and Authorities, Division 3, Fire Department Pension Board of Trustees, Section 2-371.3 of the Clawson Code by deleting such sections as replacing the same as provided to comply with the Setting Every Community Up for Retirement Enhancement Act of 2019.
Okay, I'll support it.
Roll call, please.
It's discussion, right?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Okay, so Madam Mayor and Council, this is Miss Cynthia Billings Dunn. She is the Fire Department Pension Board Corporation Counsel.
Good evening, everyone. I thought I'd stop by and see if you had any questions. This is a pretty straightforward amendment. It is required by the IRS to be adopted, and all it does is change the date, the age by which a participant has to start receiving their benefit from 70 and a half to age 72. That's literally all there is. The IRS puts this in the code so that, people don't use pension plans as perpetual tax havens. They can't collect their income tax until you start receiving your benefit. So you are required to receive your benefit no later than April 1st of the year following the year you turn age 72, or retire if that's later.
It's really simple.
It is very simple.
I did have one question. I
Sure.
was looking at the marked up verbiage. Is there a certain age bracket that remains at 70 and a half?
or not, or is that 72 across the board?
No, so it's every year. So the people that attained age 70 and a half, they're already receiving their benefit, their minimum distribution every year. So, you know, now that they're changing it to 72, those people are already covered, right?
Okay,
They've been getting it every year.
So not
they'll
even
continue.
grandfathered, they're just in at
They're
this
just
point.
in, right, because
Okay.
once you hit that age, every year you have to take your minimum distribution. And
Okay.
I will say that we don't have anyone in this community or in this pension plan that has delayed getting their pension beyond that age, but notwithstanding, you're still required to have this language in your plan document.
Okay. Any questions, any other questions?
That answered my question.
Great, roll call, please. Thank you very much for coming and pointing out that really simplistic thing, but we appreciate your willingness to answer questions should they arise.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, no problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Sampson.
Yes.
Councilmember Shepherd.
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Mayor Milan.
Yes. Thank you. Next item on our agenda would be consideration to approve fiscal year 2022-2023 first quarter budget amendments. Who would like to present this to us?
Madam Mayor, I move to, well, to approve. We can't approve it yet. Or I guess we could, just to move it. right?
Move
No,
it
move it,
for
yeah.
discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah, it needs to be
I
said.
move to approve the fiscal year 2022-2023 quarter one budget amendment as presented.
I'll second.
Mayor, if I will. Per the Uniform Budgeting and Accounting Act, Public Act 2 of 1968, 141.437, Section 17, Number 1, except as otherwise provided in Section 19, a deviation from the original General Appropriation Act shall not be made without amending the General Appropriations Act. Subject to Section 16.2, the legislative body of the local unit shall amend the General Appropriations Act as soon as it becomes apparent that a deviation from the original General Appropriations Act is necessary and the amount of the deviation can be determined. An amendment shall indicate each intended alteration in the purpose of each appropriation item affected by the amendment. The memo from Finance Director Kelly Rao identifies the additional revenues of $106,203 from our recognition of insurance distribution from the MMRMA. The expenditures in general fund are being increased in that amount across the Treasurer's Office, Police Department, and General City Hall services within the general fund. The net change in the general fund is zero. The Water and Sewer Fund requires a budget amendment in light of reimbursements and additional water taps and fees exceeding the adopted budget for a collective $24,395. The Sewer Fund will require a budget amendment of $24,395 to account for additional professional services of $5,000 not previously budgeted, as well as an adjustment for depreciation. The net change in the Water and Sewer Fund is zero. The DDA budget is being amended to account for additional property tax revenues not included in the adopted budget, as well as additional sponsorship revenues expected to be collected through the fiscal year. The additional revenue to be recognized totals $33,425. The DDA has also requested adjustments to supplies and salaries per recommendations made by the DDA board. The total additional expenditures included in the budget amendment are $24,882. Included in the expenditure amendment is an adjustment to the grant appropriations account to be moved to the operating supplies account. The grant appropriation account is no longer being utilized in order to follow the State of Michigan Uniform Chart of Accounts structure. The net change in the fund is an increase of $8,533.
Good question. What are your additional professional services for the water?
Kelly, if you could comment on that, please?
I may have to get back with you on that. I don't believe I put it in the budget amendment. Water.
For those of you watching who may not know, this is Kelly
Kelly
Rao,
Rao,
our
Finance Director. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
I did not include that. I'd have to get the details and get back with you on that. So,
While you're there, if I could
Yes.
ask a question. You've also got an increase in the water taps and fee reimbursement. If you could elaborate on that a little bit.
yes, we had budgeted $7,500, and currently we have almost $30,000 in revenue received. So as we we'll probably have another budget amendment or two if that continues throughout the year. So until that time, I'll do a second quarter budget amendment, but they've had more fees collected than budgeted.
Oh, okay. So a revenue enhancement, one might
Correct.
say.
Well, yes, we've got more revenue than we budgeted
Okay.
for.
Okay.
If you need to make an amendment, that would be the best thing for you to have to
Yes,
amend.
it is, absolutely.
We'll take those.
All right. Just for the benefits of the audience, either one of you, Mr. Raker or Ms. Rao, they talk about the general fund, the revenue will be increased by $106,000, $106,000. What's the substance of that additional revenue that's now realized?
So that is from the Michigan Municipal Risk Management Association, I believe, MMRMA. Each year, it's our pooled liability or pooled insurance through MMRMA. There's several municipalities that are in this fund, insurance fund, and at the end of each year, they calculate what excess they have, and each community has the option to have it distributed or rolled forward. Last year, we had a distribution of about $86,000 that we accepted from them. Previous years prior to that, I'm not sure.
So in other words, we were paying insurance premiums in, and yet what we drew out was far less, thus leaving us with the $103,000, $106,000
I believe
surplus.
that's how it works through
Okay.
MMRMA, yes.
Okay.
I have a question regarding the DDA budget. They've been unsettled regarding their budget since June or whatever. Does this rectify all of their concerns?
Yes, these are based on requests from the DDA director after consultation from the DDA board. So I did send her the final draft last week, and I had not heard back from her, so I assumed it was correct based on her request.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
There is one point of reference, I just wanted you to know that I did put in the budget as part of the $106,000 for the clock as requested by council of $5,500.
Right, thank you. Very important expenditure.
Okay.
Did you have another question, Councilman Anderson?
Yeah, I'm just looking at the Treasurer's Department. Looks like most of the $100,000 windfall, shall we say, is used up with extra funding in that department. I assume most of that's the additional third person?
Yes, that's all of it.
Okay. All right. And then as far as the police go, I noticed for operating supplies, we've gone from 20 to 36. What was the additional 16?
It's the changeover to a new service weapon.
Oh, we're actually changing out the
Yes,
entire.
we're changing out I believe that's the additional
I think
10.
it's weapons and
Training.
DMS or something or other.
I think it's weapons, and then that was the latest one, and then before that, it was a series of training for command and staff, sergeant, and new chief school.
Training is on a separate line.
Okay. Yeah, I see seminars and workshops, other professional.
Yeah, I believe that
services.
was weapons and DMS. I'm not sure what that stands for, but it's some type of police equipment.
Okay.
I'd like to know what that stands for. Let us know.
I'll have it in the Friday report along with the $5,000 detail.
We
interesting.
can give you more detail.
Thanks.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to amend the motion to remove the second paragraph until we can get explain what $24,000 was spent on. So it'd be just pass as it's written, except for minus the water and sewer part, and amend that next time.
So you're just looking for an explanation
Yeah.
for that?
We already have a motion out there, so. we'll have to-
No, I'm amending the motion.
Oh, amending it.
Can we amend it before we
Yes,
vote on the
Mr.
original?
Raker?
So the question mark was not on the entire $24,000. It was on the $5,000. The rest of that remainder, that $19,000 was for depreciation, correct?
It says professional
Correct.
services.
That was the $5,000.
$5,000.
And the difference off of that is towards depreciation. So it's the $5,000 specific question that needs to be answered. And I can provide that in the Friday feedback.
Take a second.
I'll second. Yeah,
For the amendment.
yeah, whatever. It's not a big deal.
Okay.
So we're voting on the motion as amended?
Yeah, just, no, we're voting to remove that part.
Just, he's asking to remove the
And then approve
5,000.
everything but that.
Not a problem.
You're voting to approve minus that 5,000.
No, minus everything in chapter 2, or the second paragraph.
Is that what you understood, Madam Mayor?
I did not understand that, but honestly, if it's a clarification, I don't have a problem with it either way.
Okay.
I thought it was the 5,000. To me, it makes sense, the
That's what I thought, too.
5,000. But if you're comfortable with the 24,900 or 24,800, I'm fine holding off on that as well. It doesn't matter. It's a clarification. It's our primary job as fiduciary. I have no problem waiting for him to be satisfied. If it makes the matter of a week, that's fine. It's
So I
not gonna
can
affect
remove the
anything, right?
whole 592 water and sewer fund.
Is that what you're requesting?
Remove what?
Section
The entire
592.
fund.
That's the paragraph.
592.
Yeah.
Milan seconds.
So, well, so we're removing it, but we're going to get clarification, and then we'll have the response.
We're going to approve everything,
Besides that,
remove that, and get further clarification and do another one later.
okay, okay.
Okay. Everyone understand?
Yeah.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Shepherd?
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson?
Yes.
Mayor Milan?
Yes,
Councilmember Sampson?
Yes.
thank you. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you.
The next item on our agenda is consideration to approve the Hartwell concrete modification for miscellaneous concrete road sewer repairs for fall 2022. Someone like to
So
make a
moved.
motion?
Second.
Thank you.
If I may?
Yes, sir.
In an effort to gain momentum to address the condition of our local roads, DPW has worked with Hartwell Concrete to identify areas of road and sewer repair to be addressed this fiscal year. The intent is to get as much work completed still this fall with the remainder to be completed in the early spring. The majority of the sites are located within the area of Maine to the west, Batter to the north, Rochester to the east, and 14 Mile to the south. There are 3 additional sites outside this area due to the priority of getting them repaired. Superintendent Trevor Zablocki is here for any additional questions.
The only question I got is, if a citizen has a problem in front of their house, where should they go? Did they go to you, or
DPW,
who would they talk to?
myself or Ryan McDonald.
You guys will put it to the list, go look
Yeah.
at it.
We'll look at it and evaluate it. We have a very large list,
Oh, yeah, I bet.
yes. So it'll get in there and get prioritized.
Okay.
Could you please give a brief synopsis of the types of projects that are going to be taken care of under this?
I would say 70 to 80% of them are caused mostly due to catch basin and sewer structure breakdowns. So those also have to be fixed. I mean, that's common. That's something holding the road up. It fails, the road fails. Our roads haven't been maintained very well in the last, I don't know how long. Just saying.
We know you inherited.
So we're looking to make the biggest improvements in spots where it's noticeable, but instead of spreading out across the city, I focused on one spot. So that started with Hendrickson. That's a pretty popular road. A lot of people travel it. Everyone knows it's not in good shape at all, but it's that borderline complete redo, but patchwork could work. So I felt we start there and kind of worked out from there. So that's a small section of the city, and this list does not even cover it. And that's the reality of where we are. So my thought was we take care of as much as we could, do the best we can with it, and then start to move out from there. So we started there. Obviously, there's other things outside of that have to be done. So outside of that, that's kind of my plan, is start somewhere that's kind of centrally located and start working our way out.
When you think of projects to begin, are you basically, because everyone is like, my road's horrible,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Like, my road is horrible, and you guys are fixing up to my road, but if you drive like a car down, like, it
Yeah.
looks like it's gonna cave
I
in,
completely
right?
understand, yes.
So people wanna know, what is the actual priority? I know we know Paisley studies and all that kind of stuff, but like, for a project like this, you're just picking a heavily traveled area, and I don't wanna speak for you. Sounds like you're picking a area that is highly concentrated, and you're working there.
It's not just that, it's also thinking about what's underneath the ground, because we're only talking roads and some sewer work. Also, sorry, what's the extent of what can be done? Is patching going to make this road better? Is patching just not really gonna help it? It doesn't need a complete redo. We have to take all that into account of what is it that we can do with a patching project, not a complete redo. That's different. That's Selfridge Phillips. That's completely separate. So the idea was find a section of the city that is going to be tight, because the less they have to move around, the quicker they can get stuff done, the cheaper it'll be. Keep it in there. And then from there, the idea is get some momentum going. Let's get some roads fixed. Let's start moving in the right direction, instead of continuously saying, we don't have the money, we can't do this, we can't do that. I haven't been in this job that long, but I'm a little tired of telling residents, can't do anything about your road, sorry. So the idea is, let's start doing something. So I picked there for the reason I said, it's a busy road. I wouldn't say it's got Elmwood right next to it, it's not the heaviest traveled, but it's a road that is, if you drive down it, you obviously know this road is in bad shape. And it is a road that we feel we can patch it and make it a good road again, without having to spend all the money on completely redoing it.
Got it. Okay,
Okay.
well, thank you. I
Yep.
think that's good information for people who are wondering, what about me?
Oh,
That's
no, I
where
completely
we're
understand.
headed, right?
Is that section, or all those sections, is it concrete, or is it asphalt, or a combination?
No, it's all concrete.
All concrete, okay. And the repairs, or is it concrete, or is it asphalt for that section?
All concrete.
All concrete, okay.
So the other thing that I'm considering a priority is any drive approaches that have been affected by water main breaks or anything that we may have had to rip their, that has to be fixed. Those residents shouldn't have a coal patch drive approach. It's not, wasn't their fault, water main broke. So to me, that's a priority. That has to be fixed. So that also kind of played a role, because we had a number in that area, a number of spots like that.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Trevor, I noticed in your list, all these addresses are outside of the original proposal for the capital improvement plan, with the exception of 36 Redruth.
Yes.
Is this within the improvement? Kind of, they're not doing all of Redruth,
No,
just a large
this
chunk?
would, the Red Roof is outside of that improvement.
Okay.
And I don't know how many people, that's also heavily traveled, because it goes right to a school. So I'm sure a lot of people, there is a very large issue right there.
Okay. So again, the
That
30
is actually probably my number one priority.
There's a gaping hole over there by the entrance to the, where the daycare is, if I remember right. Not Redruth, right?
On Red Roof?
Yeah. There has been.
Yeah, but that would be part of the project that we have coming
Okay,
up,
yeah.
hopefully.
Thanks for doing something. This is great.
We're just trying.
All right.
You aware of Lincoln and Lerner was taken out this weekend?
Yes. Could have been worse.
There's a nice patch there now.
Well, I had an employee on site, and we avoided a bigger issue. So that could have been a bigger problem, but it's better than it could have been.
Well, thank you for you and to all of your crew who are working extra diligently right now, getting these little projects done. I see them often and appreciate what they're doing, and so happy that we are actually getting a few things done, and it's a beginning. Let's get some momentum and get some more stuff done, right? Kelly's going to keep finding us money, so it's going to be great.
While I'm here, if I may, for leaf pickup, we are behind. So just any residents watching, we will get there. It's just weather and equipment failure. We fell behind, but we're still working.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you
Thanks.
very much. Okay, roll call, please.
No other discussion? Okay. Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Mayor Milan.
Yes,
Councilmember Sampson.
Yes.
Councilmember Shepherd.
Yes.
We've approved the Hartwell contract modification. Next, we'll go on for consideration to approve the purchase of a SonicWall TZ570 network security firewall appliance.
Madam Mayor, I move to approve the purchase from VC3, a SonicWall TZ570 network security firewall appliance and 25 VPN user licenses for a cost of $3,044.24.
I'll second.
Nick, I'm thinking you're going to take this one, right?
Yes.
So I just have one question. You gave us multiple quotes, and then you stated you wanted to go with this company because they provide a service agreement, or you'd be under their service agreement?
Correct. So as I shared in the memo, VC3 is our current IT provider for maintenance and management. And so based on the provisions when we agreed to have them provide the service, whenever we went out for hardware or something similar like this, we provide quotes or similar costs for what this would provide. And the quote that VC3 provided meets fair market value based on what we were able to find, as well as after talking to our, project manager, we would fall under their warranty. And so when they purchase a product like this, they purchased it from, I can't remember the supplier's name, but it's one of the second or third largest in the country. And so they purchased that for all of their communities, and so we fall under their service agreement. And so they have direct communication to them if there are issues with our service, instead of if we bought it internally, we have to go through more hoops to get assistance and support. And so they'll directly take care of that for us.
So what's the cost of that maintenance agreement? What would it basically be? If you were purchasing your own maintenance agreement, what would that cost be?
It would more or less be staff time that it takes to address that. And as I've tried to understand our IT here, that's not my background. And so I've learned certain things, but the ins and outs of it, I would trust more in a professional from VC3. That's why we have it outsourced.
So it's not a maintenance agreement, it's just troubleshooting? Is that what you're paying for? Because I just want to understand, because some of the prices were cheaper, right? And I understand, median price, whatever, if you want to do that. But I want to know what the cost would be to have a maintenance provider that isn't VCN, to see if it would be more economical to go outside of them. And then what is the length of VCN providing us this service? Is it 3 years? Is it forever? Is it, what would it be?
What they would do is they would manage the warranty, so they're keeping track of that instead of us. So if we buy a component outside of a VC3, it's on us to manage the expiration of that warranty and the repair of it and the tracking of it. And so it kind of detracts from having the service provision of the IT professionals, because what they have perspective of, all right, your firewall, you have perspective on that because you didn't buy it through us. So there's that extra added management benefit from them. So, and that's roughly a cost of $300.
$300, but if we could get it cheaper and there was no cost to have someone just remember to pay it to upgrade it when it's time to upgrade, because that's all you're really doing.
It's not that simple. It's keeping track of all those the minutia is not as simple as you think it is.
I do it, so it's not difficult, is what I'm saying. And my organization's probably about the size of this, so I'm just curious from a cost perspective, and I think it's a fair question. I just want to make sure that all of the items were looked at and not just ease. Sometimes ease is not best for all of us, or best for our pocketbook, I guess is what I really want to say.
In the long run, I think for management and the outcomes, it's probably best to go with VC3. That's what the administration's recommendation would be.
Great, thank you. Thanks for addressing my questions.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I have a
Councilwoman.
question. VC3 is IT right?
Correct?
Yeah, correct. IT Right merged with this larger company.
I went with IT right because you guys asked me, and that was the best thing at that time. But we did say that we were going to get everything we needed. We were going to bid it out. You're going to come to the board. Really what it looks like to me, because I know a lot about cybersecurity, and it looks like you're trying to buy a car at a parts store. You're going to put in a firewall. Then you're going to have to look at routers. Then you're going to have to look at, you're going to go through all this and keep adding things. And eventually, you're going to get all them parts from the parts store and find out you got to replace parts because they don't work right together. I'd like to see when, even if it costs us $100,000, you come back and say, this is what we need to be protected, because we're not protected. And really, we shouldn't even be having this conversation here. It should be in closed session. But I'd like to see us, tell us what you need, even including everything in the glass cabinets so people can't catch mops in them, to keep us, we don't have a standardization of laptops. You can't tell me that if Ms. Rao's computer breaks down tomorrow, what are you going to put in there? Oh, we have a standard so-and-so with this, you know, we're going to download this software on it, and that's all you can have on it. One of the things that Clarkston, when they were hit by allowing their engineering firm have a portal in. You haven't spoke about that. How are you going to let these people, are we going to have, is this firewall going to be only one step or two steps? Nowadays, everybody's got phones. It should be at least a two-step system. I'd really like to see us go back and tell us exactly what we need, even if it's unbearable price. That's the only way we can be safe.
I would agree with everything that you're saying. However, I think during my review, you specifically asked about the firewall. And I agree with you specifically. We are getting the entire laundry list of things that we need to get.
Yeah.
However, this is fairly important at this juncture in the game.
Oh, I know it
And
is.
so that's why we pushed it forward, and we did our due diligence to explain to you, hey, these are the prices that we have. This is why we suggest going with VC3.
Yeah. Can you
And
guarantee it's going to work with new laptops and within the,
That's what VC3 is going to be doing for us, yes.
Yeah.
They're not going to make that recommendation without all that falling into place.
the other part of that was we were going to bid it all out.
That's correct.
Not to VC3, to everybody.
And you're
So-
100% correct on that. However, this one component, because it's so important, that's why we're doing this now.
And then routers are important too.
There's a lot that's important. However, this is the priority.
When do we expect to see the big picture and division, this is how we're going to set our,
We spoke with Tom, our service provider from IT Right, BC3, and we told them that we need this expedited. They were in all of our locations, looking at speccing out wiring and what needs to be changed. And we said, this needs to become a priority. We need to get this full package put together. But that time it's going to take leaves us a certain vulnerability that I don't think we need to live with anymore. And so that's why we're making this request to acquire this component at this time through VC3.
When can they get this implemented?
It depends on how quick they can get it, but once we get this approved, they'll order it tomorrow morning first thing. The device gets mailed to their facility in Bath, Michigan. They prepare it, and then they come and install it.
And this is for a year or longer?
Well, the device itself would be for as long as the lifespan of it. I frankly don't know the lifespan of this one we're purchasing at this time. And then the license are just year to year.
Okay. And then the VPN licenses, is that expandable, or is this the one-time fee and then it covers just 25, and if one more goes over, it's another $400, or how does that work?
So we would just add on to that 25. 25 is their core number that we would purchase. And the only people that would really need that VPN would be staff here at City Hall. And I can't imagine us ever having more than 25 staff members that require access to that. But we can always add on to the user access, of course.
Okay.
how much is it per user?
The additional, I don't know at this time, because again, the 25 fits our needs currently by quite a few licenses at this time.
Does that include all the iPads we have?
It does not, no. It was for staff laptops, and I was not sure the iPads were even in operation at this time.
Use it every day.
Okay.
You got, I really believe you guys should bring the big picture as quick as you can. instead of just putting, you're buying the seats for the car, but you don't even know what kind of car you're going to buy.
Well, I would disagree with you, and I would ask council to move forward with this acquisition, please.
Okay.
And if I may add as well, this is more or less just the first step in really securing our network here at City Hall. As I said in the memo, the one we have currently is consumer class, and that does not, or resident class, I apologize. A municipality should not have that lowest level of security. And so this is just the first proper step in making sure that nothing will come up.
Yeah, nobody's fighting on you doing the project. We're just saying do it big, or I'm saying do it big and get it all fixed at one time, because somebody hacks into one of the other computers, they can get into through that firewall.
Again, I'm not going to disagree with that.
Yep.
But this is just, like I said, the first step comes off of their direct recommendation for what we should do to get to a safe point.
Roll call, please.
Oh, you're dying to do that, weren't you?
Mayor Milan,
Start doing it. Yes.
Councilmember
But-
Sampson,
Yeah.
No.
Councilmember Shepherd.
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Motion
Okay,
passes.
we're going to proceed with purchasing of that firewall, but I think it would be wise to have, as Councilmember Sampson stated, a plan that's more cohesive, comprehensive of all things, and then perhaps bring that to council so that we can avert any fears that what we have. And it's great we're moving forward, but when you talk to someone, you get sold, right? And just because you get sold doesn't mean it's the best thing for us. And sometimes it's not best to pay the most just because it takes ease off of you. But next item on the agenda would be the list of bills. And the reason we are readdressing the list of bills is because I'd like to see the question and answer regarding Ms. Phillips' inquiry regarding a payment for the DDA.
You have a motion?
So
That
Kelly
is a
Rowland.
motion. Could
Oh, I'm
someone-
sorry.
That's okay. You're welcome that's what happens here. Would anyone
I'll
second
make a
that?
motion.
You support?
Yeah. I thought I did.
Oh, you made the initial motion. Okay.
Do whatever it takes to get it on paper and get us moving.
Okay. And done. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We're good? Tip-top?
We're good.
We're good.
Discussion.
Okay. Thanks, Kelly.
So the invoice is actually in our AP system, ready to be approved. At last look, a couple weeks ago, a week ago, it appeared that Joan had denied the invoice. I didn't really deep dive into it, but my assumption is we did not include sales tax as part of the reimbursement, as we are exempt from sales tax, as well as any commission, board, or authority associated with the city is exempt from sales tax. So I think that's where the delay is on the payment. I
So-
don't know how long it's been in AP or how long we've had it. I know maybe at least a couple months, I think I saw it.
Okay, so explain to me, the city doesn't have to pay sales tax, right? Because you have a
The
sales
city,
tax.
nor does the DDA,
Okay, which
pay
is-
sales tax.
So if they purchase
And nor do
directly,
we reimburse sales tax.
but how do people know, I would like to see people's, not picking a
We
fight,
have-
but I would love to see people's expense reports and say there's no sales tax on reimbursements for
We
expenses.
have notified all department heads, the DDA director, on several occasions within the past year that they are not to pay sales tax if they need a sales tax exemption form, or any of their employees or other volunteers or members. Typically, a director or an employee would make purchases, not necessarily a volunteer. But we do not pay the sales tax. In fact, our auditors will probably be making a comment on the audit. They notified me last week that we paid some sales tax on some credit card purchases, so want to make sure that we do not pay sales
We have a
tax.
policy that says it.
That's state law. Well,
So it
state,
says, yeah, but I would say there's a difference between the city paying sales tax and then
It is-
reimbursement for
it's
a
the
sales
same.
tax.
It's the same.
Well, that's just not right. Like, is there something in writing that states we do not pay
Yes,
sales
I
tax? We
will-
do not make
I will-
reimbursements.
I've sent emails out. I will download the state sales tax exemption act and notify everybody once again.
But how would a volunteer know that?
That would be
was
up
the
to
case?
the director.
So if someone, Kathy, did you say 6 months?
I think the sales tax is $12. I mean, it could have been approved and we could have hashed out the $12, $6. I'm not sure what, it wasn't a lot.
To our attorney, isn't there a lawsuit? I don't think we want to settle a lawsuit here.
I'm sorry?
Isn't there a lawsuit?
None that I'm aware of, but Madam Mayor, you are correct in your distinction that you made. Yes, we do not pay the sales tax as a municipality, and of course, we want all our expenses to go that route, but when it comes to reimbursement, we reimburse nonetheless.
So we can reimburse.
Our auditors say
facilities.
different.
I mean, our auditors.
I'm gonna
our
look to the
auditors can send us.
auditors.
They can just write the little note,
That's right.
bad, whatever. But I feel like it's not worth. I'd rather
I'm
take
gonna
the
go ahead and do
bad.
it this time, but going forward, I think each department head, each director needs to be diligent
True.
with whoever they're having doing their purchases, that they do not pay sales tax.
That's true, right? I'll give you that. That's 100% on them. But
And I will notify the auditors that we'll be paying sales tax one more time.
and I appreciate your holding up what you feel is right. But we can't penalize people for information that they're not aware of, and that
Well,
doesn't
that
seem
would be
normal.
That would be a director or department head. It would be on them to notify whoever they're having purchase for them.
Yeah, it just seems like it's different for me to buy something and then give you the receipt than it is for the city to buy something, right? Like,
It's still it still includes sales tax, so.
yeah, I get it, and you can do that moving forward, but I'd like to resolve Ms.
Yep,
Phillips'
I'll take care of it
issue.
and we'll get it in tomorrow's check run.
Okay,
And I believe it's paid via ACH, so it'll go directly to her bank,
okay.
I think. Maybe not. I'll have to look.
Okay.
But I think she's set up for ACH. If not, it'll be a paper check.
I'm not set up for these.
So a paper check,
Either
it'll
one,
be.
either one. She'll get paid tomorrow.
Did anyone else have anything? Kathy, did you, are you?
I have been purchasing for the DDA and other volunteer groups for probably the inception of DDA. And this business about not paying sales tax, I understand that on large purchases. But when you're dealing with volunteers, we go like just the bar crawl the other night. It's like I had to buy candy corn from here. I had to buy paper plates from here. They're not going to give, I'm not going to fill out a tax exempt form for everything, the dollar store here and there. And then what we do is we put all our receipts together and turn them in. I can understand purchasing for the city. I can understand not having to pay sales tax. But the DDA operates on a different plane, and their budget is not in the city budget. It's their own budget, and it's also piggybacked by the Oakland County divisions that watch that budget and Main Street. So this business of just all of a sudden after 15 years of we're not paying the sales tax, now you've alleviated a crap load of volunteers that aren't going to run around and do all that stuff for the city. It's like, I'm not, this 6 months to get this money back is like ridiculous. I have, as you all know, I've been on medical leave. I haven't worked for 6 months. $500 is a lot of money to me right now. And if it's going to be the pub crawl, it's like, am I going to get that money back? Probably not. That could be another 6 months. But it needs to be rectified that the DDA is here. They have their budget, they have their bylaws, they have this, and this. And the city's here. All the city does is basically handles the funds for the DDA. The board of directors is the one that makes the decisions for the DDA. So this needs to be rectified farther than it is. I mean, yes, I want to be paid, but it's a bigger picture than that. It's just, I'm not going to keep buying stuff for all this. And I went out the week before I had my first surgery just to make sure that the city had some flowers downtown. and went and purchased all that and planted all that, and then thinking, oh, I'll get the money back in a couple weeks, no problem. And here I am. So I appreciate you guys maybe exploring that a little further down the road somewhere.
Thank you. Your flowers actually are beautiful. I will say those are the best flowers I've seen out there in a really long time. They really thrived this year. That was good. Kelly, could you please provide clarification on if there's a difference between the DDA operations and the regular city operations, or run as whomever?
Well, the DDA is an authority under the city of Clawson's umbrella. So they are technically, the city council adopts their budget, approves the budget, as well as any, not necessarily the actual purchases they make, but because it is under city of Clawson, they have to follow the same types of rules. Typically, it could be just a suggestion, DDA could set up an account with a local store where they purchase things so they know they're tax exempt, and send volunteers to those dozen stores or whatever. But DDA director has a credit card through the city, so any of those things could remediate the sales tax.
Okay. So Kelly, if a volunteer goes to a merchant and communicates, I'm buying this for the DDA.
They would have to just tell them there's exempt from sales tax.
Right, and how do they convince the merchant of that? If they say, I'm buying $100 worth of candy corn, I'm going to pay $100, I'm exempt from the extra 6 cents. How is that communicated in a positive manner?
Typically a form. They would
Meaning,
have a form,
who would have a form?
whoever's going to the store making the purchases.
So the volunteer would have a form from the city or from
Correct.
the DD? And it would be like a
City,
certified
DD.
form that the merchant would
That-
recognize?
That were tax
Who
exempt,
would write it
yes.
for the volunteer?
Pardon me?
Who would write it for the volunteer, the form?
It would come from the finance department or the city manager's office.
So it'd be a
And
certified
just-
document
I
from
mean,
your office?
No, it's not a certified document.
They just need to see.
I just send it to
It's an
the department
identification
heads.
code.
Most of them already have a copy. They can give it to whichever employees are making purchases on behalf of the city or DDA.
And that copy will be recognized by the merchant?
Yes.
Is this a new practice that you?
No.
Well, I'm not asking, did you create this? Are you the only one who's ever enforced it? But maybe that is the question. Are you the only one who has enforced it here in Clawson?
As far as I can see,
Okay,
I'm the
yeah.
only one that has enforced no paying of sales tax, yes.
Okay. Mr. Newshire, did you have anything to weigh in on this?
The law, I mean, the finance director is correct. The law is longstanding. This is nothing new. However, I think, again, I agree with your parsing out because of the certain pragmatic realities. When a person goes out to buy small stuff, the practical reality of it will be that, to go out with forms can be difficult. Of course, that's a solution to have a standard, stores, but I'm not sure that practically speaking that would work. That said, with respect to your earlier question, I'm happy to provide some information with respect to the DDA versus the city.
I can also have our auditors send you a brief as well, why we are not to pay sales tax.
No, I'm all for, I would love to read that, actually. Is it, we are not to, or we should not?
We don't
are
have
not.
to pay.
Don't, so, because that's a difference, right? Should not, because we'll save ourselves 6% on our expenditures throughout the year, or you may not, because there's a difference between, there's just a difference. I don't need to explain that.
Auditors say
Shouldn't shall.
will not.
Pardon me?
I said the auditors say will not pay, do not pay.
Can we see something in writing that says that?
Yes?
Okay.
So thank you, Kelly, for enforcing whatever rules there are. We appreciate that. Thank you for taking care of Kathy tomorrow. She'll be happy to see that. And then thank you for putting together documentation to explain this on a broad basis so that no one has to go through this uncomfortable situation again, because this is, it's not fun to wait for money that you put out for something good, right? Anything else for our finance director?
No.
Kelly, thank you so much again. Okay, next on the agenda would be old unfinished business. Does anyone?
List of
Oh,
bills.
the list of bills, sorry, we're going to move on from that. So then, the rest of the bills. Are we satisfied with the rest of the bills?
Oh, can I do this? Because Madam Mayor paid the bills.
Oh, you're ready to vote. Okay, no, there was a motion and a second.
There was
I'm just
a
waiting. Yeah, that's good. We're just waiting for the call
I
to
got a
vote.
question. You got 11,000, I love how dark this is, $730 for professional services. What is that?
I do not know. Did it say who it's to?
Here,
What fund?
Who's it for?
it's your report. It's a big line.
That would be for your city attorney. And/or Merge Live. No, I'm sorry, just
Merge
the
is
city
separate.
attorney.
Which one is it?
City attorney.
Are you sure?
Without extra detail, but that particular account is specifically used for the city attorney.
Can you
Standard
find,
charges?
can you send us something, tell us what it is?
Probably not.
Pardon me?
Can you look into it later on? And
It
tell-
should, I don't know what else you got. You should have received more detail
Yeah,
than
there's
just that
like
last
three
page.
versions of it.
Yeah, we got all kinds of versions.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, it would be Troy Law Center. I can ask the treasurer to send you additional detail.
Okay.
Did I say that? Troy Law Center?
You did, thank you. I doubt it, no.
he wants to paint some more artwork on the back of his wall.
All right. You know, a city of Clawson resident painted that.
I mean, it's lovely. I see it every Sunday. Anyone else? What should we do with, would you like to agree to pay for the bills? Or would you like, you're asking for something or we're
Yeah, I got that
proceeding?
now. We can Motion to pay the bills.
Okay.
That was my
We already had
motion.
Yeah, we had the motion. We're just waiting for you to call the question, that's all.
And the motion was, Madam Mayor, pay the bills.
Got
Somebody
it.
seconded
Okay.
it.
Roll call, please.
That
That's what I was waiting
for,
for. Councilmember Sampson.
Yes.
Councilmember Shepherd.
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Mayor Milan.
Yes.
It was for Tom Palmer and
That's fine.
Howie.
Oh,
They used to say that.
To do that,
And I did for the first 6-7 months.
yep. How we did it with Spirit, right? I don't know, Tom, so. Next up is old unfinished business. Does anyone have any old unfinished business? That is a great answer. We'll move on to public comments for items not on the agenda. If you're here and you'd like to speak, feel free to join.
Yep.
But the people at home
can't.
might not be able to. And you don't want to yell.
I worked in the bowling alley for 29 years, so.
Let's hear
I
bowling alley
talk pretty
talk.
loud. Yeah, so I'm Gina Nadovich. I live at 500 Bowman. I watched the city council's review of our city manager at the last council meeting. I'm glad it was recorded and available for citizens to witness. That's why I'm here instead of watching Jeopardy. The review was unacceptable. Mr. Shepherd was the only one who followed a guideline. His comments were concise and polite. The remainder of the council ranged from incomplete to incoherent. I want to thank our city manager for noticing that Nick does a great job, did not have an accurate job title, and he took appropriate action. That's how you keep good employees. How many city managers are we going to go through before council sees it's not the city managers that are the problem? We have an elephant in the room. The negative energy is palpable. The job of council is to approve a budget annually, hire a city manager, and work on adopting ordinances as needed. Other than that, please get out of the way and let the excellent employees that we have in all departments do their job. I'd like to give you a few suggestions of where I would like to see you focus regarding budgeting and ordinances. We need to start looking at rental properties, inspections, evictions, VRBOs. I'd also like to see an ordinance regarding outdoor seating at restaurants, specifically the seating distance from the curb to where the seating is. Two people have got to get through there, and I'm wondering whose sidewalk that is. I'd also like to see the council encourage resident participation in deciding how the $1.2 million in ARP funds are budgeted. The schools that are being sold, what's happening to the playground equipment? Does it make financial sense to relocate the playground equipment to the parks? Has council investigated buying Shawm and creating a community center there and selling Hunter for more housing? I like brainstorming, but you simply will not get that in this hostile environment that's been created here. Change starts with awareness. I wish you well, and that's it for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much. As I don't see anyone else, we will close public comments this time. Next item is our city attorney's report.
Nothing for this evening, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. City manager's report.
Hold on, Madam Mayor.
Wait, sorry.
Right, I got to ask, how is the short-term rental agreement ordinance coming?
Yeah, we'll have that up, thank you, and actually that addresses the question. We'll have that up at the next meeting. The ZBA has received it as well. I know Joe Tangari sent it forwarded along with their agenda and package, so barring any questions there, hopefully we'll have some more participation than we've had in the past, but it'll be here at the next meeting
Okay.
as a voting item.
That'll be a first reading.
I'm sorry?
It'll be a
Yeah, we'll
first-
provide it as a first reading, but obviously council will do with it as it pleases, but we'll provide it as a first reading.
Anything else? Thank you, Mr. Newshine. Next up, our city manager's report.
Yes, Madam Mayor. Construction at Selfridge Phillips continues to make progress, and currently the weather outlook for the next week to 10 days is very favorable. At this time, I want to socialize that the likelihood for Stage 2 of the project to be started and completed this fall is waning. All are confidently optimistic that Stage 1 will be completed before winter sets in. There have been several utility issues that have been discovered and needed to be worked through. In any major project, you don't totally know every aspect about it until you get into it and start to discover issues. I will continue to work with our city engineers, AEW, and our contractor Quality Concrete to ensure the project gets as far possible and stops for the winter at a place in the progress of the project that is most feasible for all stakeholders. Additionally, the weather has a vote, and so does the industry. Concrete plants are starting to scale back operations for the approaching winter. This factor, along with the weather, will largely dictate if we get to Stage 2, and if so, how far, and if it can be completed this fall. Also, Council, I'd like you to still consider a potential joint meeting with the school district. Superintendent Shell is socializing that with his board, and I did inform them your interest in doing it sooner rather than later.
Did we talk about doing it the first thing in January?
Yes.
Your interest was to do it sooner rather than later. January's not sooner.
I think we've been through this, and we all said we wanted to do it in January.
No, the
Right.
consensus was do it sooner rather than later.
Consensus was we just didn't want to do it around a holiday, if I recall,
Yeah.
right? So we don't have a lot of weeks, and we wanted to try and avoid a holiday or right upon a holiday, just for those people who celebrate maybe not here or who have lots of responsibilities around the holidays. That's all. That's where we got. So if you'd like to propose some dates for us, it's been a couple weeks. If you have some you want to propose, we can see what we can do. We
I'm
can work
waiting
something
back.
out. I'm sure we'll be happy to do that.
I'm waiting to hear back from Superintendent Shell.
Okay, great. Anything else?
No, ma'am.
Thank you for that. Any city council comments? Mr. Shopper? Councilman
Yeah, just driving around my neighborhood, 360 Dakota. I saw some signs on the front door. I don't know if that's the status of the house is to be condemned, or do we have any information on that? And the reason why I bring that up is it's close to the school, and potential problems and safety that may be related to that. So,
I will respond, actually, I'll have Nick respond first thing in the morning on that after speaking with code enforcement.
okay. It's the Hendrickson house came to mind. I'm thinking, okay, are we going to go down this path? And especially being that close to where Kenwood is.
No, that one is a frequent flyer.
Yeah, there's a
and,
process
we're-
in place
yes.
for it. I can't tell you, I can't address the question, but there is a process in place, and we're somewhere along that pathway.
Okay, all right. That's all I had.
Councilmember Anderson?
No, I have no comments.
Councilmember Shepherd? Oh, sorry, I'm looking at Sampson and saying Shepherd. Got my S words mixed up. Councilmember Sampson? Nothing?
I always talk what I wanted anyway, so I've said everything.
I'm curious, the trees that are being taken down everywhere. Sorry, Glenn, I got
They're
you on
fine.
this one. But why are all the trees coming down around the road construction project?
They're in the easement for them to do the project, to execute the project. Actually, one tree has grown over a gas service line and around the manhole. And that is a considerable engineering issue that we need to coordinate and work through. That's in phase 2, or stage 2.
So all of the trees in the little island at Selfridge were invasive, and all of the
That was-
trees
they'll be
along
replaced.
Selfridge are also?
They need that as a staging area, those like 4 small trees on that Pie Island
They
median.
were pretty good size, but, and then also on Selfridge and Phillips, several have come down,
Yes, ma'am?
and they'll all be replaced?
No, I don't think that the ones along the easement along Southbridge and Phillips, but the ones on the island definitely will be replaced.
You're destroying the character of our community. That's not cool. That's what we like about it here.
The
Beautiful
roads will
tree-lined
destroy the
streets.
character of your community, too.
He just said they weren't replacing them.
I don't think we're replacing the ones on the easement at this time, and if not, we will specifically look at the ordinance to make sure that we put the right species in at the right place, at the right time, trimmed at the right height.
I would assume you would do that anyways. That would not even be a question for me. I would just assume you would do the right thing.
Madam Mayor, can I piggyback on that? If you
Sure.
mind? Okay, so you mentioned the gas main, and so that's been addressed. It was the shallow distance from the topsoil. Was that the concern?
Well, that
around
was,
or
that one
something
has been
different?
addressed and has been mitigated, so what they're
Okay.
gonna do is that one's been abandoned, and it will be abandoned and capped, and then they'll directional bore to make the, to make the connection.
Okay.
The other one, that's the one from my Friday report you're referring to?
Yeah,
right?
exactly. The other thing was, for those trees that are getting removed, is it because there's water underneath
Yes,
there?
they're impeding the project.
Okay. Yep. Okay. There were silver maples anyway, so. Okay.
Okay, Councilmember Sampson and I both attended the Michigan Municipal League Conference last week in Muskegon. I can never say Muskegon. And it was a good event. I want to thank the city for investing in the education for both of us to look at options for us to do what we do better and to provide better opportunities for our community. There were several performances. There were several programs that were of extreme value. He and I attended several that were different, but there's some opportunities for some training and for some areas for us to improve. There were opportunities for water funds that are available that we would like to pursue and have someone contact the city administration to see if there's something we can do to capture some dollars that are not typical dollars. And would also like to contact one of the facilitators to see if we can get her here to do some training for all of our boards and commissions, because she had a really beautiful slant on appropriateness and just what it means to serve in a community. And I think we could all use a little lesson from that. So looking forward to bringing some more things to you in the future, but I did want to say thank you for allowing us the opportunity to attend. It's not necessarily fun to miss 3 days of work or miss your family for a couple of days, but the education was well worth it. So thank you for that. And then with that,
I'm taking back my yield.
Go ahead.
Yielded, but, for the administration, talk with the state police. They will come and do a cyber assessment for free of our system.
The one I believe you're talking about, IT, right, VC3 completed that before we move forward with them to address our needs. So we have that report completed. And
What's wrong with bringing in the state police? They're the ones that do the forensics on all these.
it's the same report the state police would conduct. VC3 is one of the few companies that's allowed to use that same report.
And the city manager of Clarkston said he'd come and talk to all of us, how they got attacked, what happened, you know, a lot of stuff that you don't want to bring up, but I'd really see it like a closed session and talk about our stuff and have him tell what happened for them. Because it cost them $122,000 at the end. Do we have insurance?
That would be MMRMA, yes.
Are we sure?
Yes, that is included in
Yes.
the insurance, yes. There's a whole section about IT protection and cyber.
That's what saved
attacks, yeah.
Clarkston.
Yeah, that's all there.
Okay.
You just share the information with them, and let's get that going, because even if it is a report that's already been done, these people do this professionally. They do it for communities exclusively, and he has a lot of experience, and there may be something that, information that wasn't garnered through the report that we received that could be helpful to the community. Education is power, right? So,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Okay, next up will be consideration of going into closed session to discuss negotiation strategy for upcoming labor contract negotiations in accordance with MCL 15.268, Section 8E of the Open Meetings Act and Freedom of Information Act, MCL 15.243, Section 13, 1G.
So move.
Support?
Roll call?
Councilmember Shepherd,
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Mayor Milan,
Yes.
Councilmember Sampson.
Yes.
Okay, we'll be going into closed session, and we will come back out here to finish off the meeting, close up the meeting when we have finished, and we will do an adjournment from this spot.
You're a high school.
Okay, so we just exited a really productive closed session, and no decisions were made. Oh. We just left our extremely productive closed session, no decisions were made. I would like to call for a going home.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to
Second.
adjourn. All in favor?
Milan,
Yes.
Sampson.
Yeah.
Shepherd.
Aye.
Anderson.
Yes.
Meeting adjourned.